Nathan presents the worst control city on every interstate. We're almost to 200 subs. If we hit 200 subs, I will show you the best control city on every interstate. This video is mostly inspired by Control City Freak's video on the worst control city in each state. Great video, go check it out if you haven't already. I decided to, maybe have my spin on things, but I took a step further. I did on every interstate instead of going by state and only picking one bad control city state. We'll probably see some bad ones in the same states, or maybe see some bad ones in other states that maybe were thought to not have many bad ones. And my criteria for this is about the same as his, so primary controls only, secondaries if primaries are just too good, overhead signs if possible, and then these are just going to be 2-digit interstates, so no 3-digit interstates. I could make a video on the best and worst control cities on 3 digits, but I imagine the worst ones are probably just going to be the signs that just don't have control cities. And then this is mostly subjective, but I'll take everything into consideration. I'll try not to be too biased or anything, but if I just can't decide, then bias, I guess, will be taken into consideration. And final note here, it's mostly going to be measured by annoyance rather than size. Just because something is the smallest control city in a state or on an interstate doesn't necessarily mean it's the worst control city, because maybe it's just on a minor interchange, or maybe there's another city that's more religiously signed instead of it. And that's about all the criteria I have. Do everything you see in the lower left, so like, comment, share, and hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications, and let's get started with Interstate 2. So I-2 doesn't really have too many signs, so we have East 2 here for Harlingen and West 2 here for McAllen. Also with US 83 here, which is what it was before I-2, and I guess it still currently is. So my pick here is going to be Harlingen. Yes, that's where I-2 ends, and it's one of the bigger, Rio Grande Valley cities, but it does dead end into 69E, and 69E is angled towards Brownsville, so I think Brownsville should probably at least be mentioned alongside Harlingen. However, this is actually on I-2. This is one of the only overhead signs I could see for I-2, and we have East 2 and I guess East 83, even though that's a north-south. We got Harlingen and Brownsville, so they list both. And I checked on early Street View, like 2007, 2008, and this sign was still here. So this is what US 83 did even before I-2 became a thing. So yeah, it'll be nice if they update these signs to say Brownsville. I mean, all this is just old US highway signage anyways. But yeah, Harlingen probably could become Brownsville. For I-4, I-4 really doesn't have a bad control city. Like, I think everything picked on I-4 is a good choice. But if I had to pick the worst one, I'd say 4 East Daytona Beach. And again, that's where 4 ends, and it's pretty substantial. So I think it's fine for them to sign it. However, I do think it's kind of a missed opportunity. They could throw Jacksonville on here too, because Jacksonville is where I-95 will go, and that's kind of where 4 is angling towards. So they could sign Jacksonville here, but Daytona's fine, so I'm not going to complain too much. I-5, Santa Ana. I mean, Oregon has some provincial stuff here and there, but it's mostly interchanges. There might be a few pull-throughs, but Santa Ana just being signed the way it is just really doesn't make any sense, because we're not that far away from Los Angeles. San Diego and Los Angeles is not a huge distance, and Santa Ana, I mean, yeah, people have heard of it, but it's basically just a suburb of LA. It's in the LA area. I don't see the point of this. This should be LA all the way. For I-8, my choice is going to be El Centro. Again, not awful, but again, just kind of missed opportunity here. I feel like we should be signing something in Arizona, either Yuma, Phoenix, or Tucson. I'd be fine with just about any of those. Which one will I go with? Probably Phoenix, because I'm pretty sure this is the fastest way to Phoenix from here. So, yeah, I would sign this Phoenix and Tucson, or just Phoenix, or maybe El Centro Phoenix, Yuma Phoenix. Something like that probably work. And then I-10, I present the 4 Horsemen of Stinky Control Cities. And we're seeing one right here. This sign, nothing is good about this sign. Bad control cities all around. We have 12 West Hammond, that should be Baton Rouge. 59 North Hattiesburg, that should be Birmingham. I mean, Hattiesburg's defensible, I guess. I mean, it's sort of a decent-sized metro for the area, but still, 59 goes to Birmingham. 59 is sort of the main route in Birmingham anyways. Sign it. But I'm not going to worry about that. 10 East, Bay St. Louis. I have one letter response to that. Why? Why Bay St. Louis? It's not even really on I-10. It's a small town. Like, why are we signing a small town not even on the interstate? It's on US 90. And Mississippi themselves don't even sign it as a primary. It's not even in Louisiana here. So, yeah, what is the deal here? I mean, I'd rather it be signed for regular St. Louis than Bay St. Louis. I know it's probably not anywhere near the fastest way to there, but I mean, I don't know. take I-65 up to like 22 or something, back to 55. Maybe. And then here in Florida, in the Jacksonville area, we have 10 west for Lake City. Our first control city we get going westbound is Lake City, not Tallahassee. Like, Jacksonville and Tallahassee are not that far apart. I mean, maybe if it was between like Tallahassee and Pensacola, I could sort of see it. I mean, it still wouldn't be good, but at least I can still sort of see it. And again, like Bay St. Louis, it's not really on I-10 at all. I mean, it's closer to I-75, but still, like, why are we, again, signing a US 90 town instead of signing the state capital here? This doesn't make any sense. And then our third horseman, we have 10 West Pascagoula, 10 East Pensacola. That's okay. I'm fine with that. But Pascagoula, again, you know what? You know what this city has in common with the other two? It's a US 90 town. It's not even on I-10, and it's small. Like. And Mississippi doesn't even sign it as a primary, so why is Alabama signing it here? And then the last one, this one just kills me. So this is a relatively newer sign. I don't think this sign said Deming before, but let's go through these. Okay, so 25 North, Las Cruces, Albuquerque. I think that's just fine. We're not to downtown Las Cruces yet, so putting Las Cruces on 925 is fine, and also giving Albuquerque as a longer distance control city. But 10 West, Las Cruces, 10 should not even be signed for Las Cruces because, for one, it does not go through downtown. Like, I guess you could put, like, South Las Cruces on there, even though it's not really a thing, but Las Cruces should not be on here because 25 goes to downtown, but Sia shouldn't be on there because that's a suburb of Las Cruces, so that shouldn't be on there. So the first two control cities are garbage and don't make any sense. And then now we have Deming, which I guess is the only sort of control city on this sign, but Deming's a small town. It's the only other town in New Mexico of any sort of significance that I-10 goes through. Like, if you're gonna assign 3 cities, do, like, Deming, Lordsburg, and Tucson, or Deming, Tucson, Phoenix, or Tucson, Phoenix, Los Angeles. Like, these are the worst 3 you could pick. I guess if they skipped Deming and went to Lordsburg, I guess that would be worse, but, stinky. All 4 of these are bad. If I had to pick a worst one, probably Bay St. Louis, but this one's pretty close. 11, Boulder City. I mean, yeah, I get it goes there, but I would just sign a different city instead of it. Probably either Phoenix, because that's roughly the direction it's going, and it's probably where it will go eventually, or maybe Kingman. Kingman might work, but I would just go with Phoenix, since Phoenix is already kind of signed in Las Vegas anyway, so that's what I would do. Again, I-12, showed the same sign before. Again, Hammond, no need, just sign Baton Rouge here. I get going this way, like, you know, Baton Rouge wouldn't be that useful, but again, Hammond is signed everywhere on this interstate, and that's only because it meets I-55 there. I don't think anybody's really caring about the town that 55 and 12 meet in. I think if you wanted to sign this Jackson, I mean, I'd be more okay with that. Just because, like, you know, if you're gonna sign something as a 55, but yeah, Hammond, no. Just, and then going eastbound's even worse. I would just sign it for either Gulfport or Mobile, even. Alright, and then I-14, not a lot of signs on I-14, but I'm choosing this one. We got Coffers Cove and Lampasas for 14 and 190 West. Again, this is probably just an old US 190 sign. But yeah, Lampasas, I don't think is really that good of a choice. I would probably sign this either San Angelo, because that's the nearest, like, big-ish city in, like, western Texas. So I would sign either that, or even El Paso, because 190 goes all the way to I-10. And that's where 14S, I believe, is going to go. So either one of those would be fine. 14N is, I'm pretty sure, the one that's going to go to San Angelo and Midland. But yeah, Lampasas right now, I get it's a work in progress, but this is my choice for 14. 15, I got San Bernardino. There might be some questionable signs elsewhere on 15, but this one's just really annoying. Mostly because 40 was signed for Los Angeles from Flagstaff, and then California just drops it and signs Barstow. And then when 40 reaches its end, 15 isn't even signed for Los Angeles. It's signed for San Bernardino, which 15 doesn't really go to. So if you're not going to sign a city that the interstate actually goes to, sign Los Angeles. If you're gonna sign something it does go to, sign San Diego, because it goes to San Diego. Anyway, I-16, got Macon and Savannah. There's basically the only choices. Again, both sensible, but I would probably pick Macon, because again, like I-4, you know, opportunity to sign Atlanta, and they probably could mention some Atlanta on 16. 17, not really any bad control cities itself, but here we have 17 North Flagstaff, which is the right choice, but I think there should be some mention of downtown Phoenix on here too, like maybe sign this South Loop in Flagstaff, something like that. That could work. I-19, again, there's really only 2 choices. We got Nogales and Tucson, and both are correct, but I'm going to pick Nogales because they don't specify which one, because it could be Arizona being provincial. They could just be signing their own city instead of the one in Mexico, which is way bigger, but again, I couldn't really give a solid reasoning for this one, so that's my reasoning. I-20, not too many just awful ones, but this one just doesn't make a lot of sense. 20 East Vicksburg. This is in Monroe, Louisiana. And Vicksburg, I mean, it is a famous place, and it's got like a gambling scene, and it's like, you know, it's famous because of the Mississippi River, but From Monroe, Jackson is less than 2 hours away, so I think we should be signing Jackson here, or at least co-sign Vicksburg and Jackson. I-22, we have 22 East Holly Springs and Tupelo for 22 and 78. Again, if you're going to dual control city this, you should sign Tupelo and Birmingham if you're going east, and Tupelo, Memphis going west. I-24, not too many bad ones on 24, but here we are meeting with I-69. We're getting 24 and 69 signed for Paducah. And they're signed like that because they're 24 actually does go to Paducah, and 69 is kind of following it close to Paducah before it splits. But honestly, like, I think this should be maybe Paducah, St. Louis, or maybe Memphis, St. Louis. I know 24 doesn't go to St. Louis, and it does kind of, you have to cut over on 57 and 64, so I know it's not really a direct route to St. Louis, but again, it's the fastest way to St. Louis. I would just go with that. I-25, I mean, we kind of saw this coming. 25 North Las Vegas. Again, New Mexico is just being really provincial here. They want to sign New Mexico towns when they can. And 25 North Las Vegas, not even an NM there. It's just really confusing because, again, I-15 goes to Las Vegas, so the interstate that does go to Las Vegas, Nevada, ends in the 5, and this one also ends in the 5. So that does make it really confusing. And we should be signing something in Colorado, either Colorado Springs, Denver, even Pueblo would be a better sign than this. Yeah, just really bad. I-26, yeah, Irwin, and I bet you thought this is in North Carolina, but nope, it's in Johnson City, Tennessee. So Tennessee has Irwin on this sign. Irwin. Tennessee, I think you need to win with your signs instead of signing Irwin. I-27, so this is the first interstate, I guess, besides I-4 and I-12 and some other ones, but this is the first one in Texas. We're going to see a lot of Texas on here, not necessarily because of anything too awful, but we do have just some weird one-off signs here. Like, we have South 87 and 27 for Tahoka, which, again, like, if you're going to have a 27 shield on there, you should also put an N sign there, too, because 27 ends roughly around this area. Maybe there was an N sign at one point, but I checked on, like, 2007 Street View, and I did not see an N sign on there, or at least no N sign I could make out. And it's signed for Tahoka because that's where 87's going, but I don't know, that's not really the best choice for 87. Like, Midland would be, like, pretty good just because that's the next largest city that 87's sort of angling for. I know it doesn't really go there, but that would be okay. But if you want to sign something 87 does go to, it does go to Big Spring, and it's an okay size for US Highway, and you meet I-20 there, so I would say you're Midland or Big Spring. I-29, this is in St. Joseph, and we have 29 North for Council Bluffs. I don't really like Council Bluffs as a control city, or at least as a lone control city. It should be co-signed with Omaha. I get most of the junctions are in Council Bluffs, but again, Omaha is a much bigger city. It's maybe like 2-3 miles from Council Bluffs. Like, I don't know, just sign Omaha on here too. I-30, I wanted to pick Texarkana, but Texarkana at least is defensible enough. I mean, there's enough junctions there. It's kind of famous too, but then I realized I saw this sign when I was making my 30 video, and yeah, 30 West Weatherford. I'll go into it again. Why? Why are we signing Weatherford when you could be signing Abilene? Like, Abilene signed like almost everywhere else except for here. And this is on 820, and people are going to get off at 30 if they want to go to Abilene or Points West. Like, there's no reason to sign Weatherford here. Either sign Abilene, or I'd even be fine with El Paso here because, I mean, there's El Paso signed really early on 20. I know, like, this is going to be kind of weird because you have to cut over on 2 interstates to get to there, but, I mean, anything's better than Weatherford. Unless you sign something smaller. 35, I went between 2 choices. I went between Denton and Albert Lee. But I actually ended up settling on Albert Lee as the worst control city on 35. Denton, at least, is sort of growing and is sort of becoming its own thing. I mean, yeah, it's a suburb. It's not very good. It should be Oklahoma City, but at least it's sort of prospering. Albert Lee, not so much. Albert Lee is only signed because it is where I-90 meets 35, but again, there's just, the junction's not very useful. Like, anybody who's going to be wanting to go to Rochester or points east is probably going to take 52, and then anybody going to Sioux Falls is going to take a state highway of some kind. There's no need to sign Albert Lee. Iowa doesn't even sign it going north. Like, I get Des Moines isn't exactly like that big. I mean, it's big enough. I mean, it's not bigger than the Twin Cities, but yeah, I mean, why are we signing Albert Lee here? Like, when Iowa doesn't even sign it? Because, I don't know, because it's always provincial. I-37, again, the main control cities aren't exactly the problem. Again, like I-27, we have 37 signed only for Johnson City. It's signed this because 281 goes there, and we're in San Antonio city limits. But, yeah, I don't know. I would still just sign downtown, or I'd sign the Alamo or something here, just something in San Antonio itself. Or even just the airport worked fine too. Johnson City's a little weird on 37, and I don't know if that's the best choice for 281 either. I guess I won't know until I do 281 eventually. But yeah. 39, I'm going to pick Janesville. Don't really need a control city between Rockford and Madison. I feel like both of them probably do okay on their own. I-40, I'm going to let this play out, and I will give you a good hint from it. Yep. That is Benson. Got East 40 and East 70 for Benson and Smithfield. So Benson's really the only lone control city for I-40 because I'm pretty sure Smithfield's for 70. But yeah, again, Interstate Junction, but I don't care. Like I said in other videos, I don't really care for interstate junctions being signed unless there's absolutely nothing better to sign. So yeah, it should be Wilmington and Raleigh the whole way on both directions. I-41, again, not really many bad ones on 41. I mean, Fond du Lac is still sensible, but the only reason I'm picking this one is because Appleton is a little larger from what I remember, and so you could argue Appleton should be signed here because any Green Bay traffic would have taken 43 and not 41. So Fond du Lac's okay. Appleton is a little larger from what I remember. So, I mean, maybe sign both of them. But, I mean, I had to pick something. 43, I'm going to pick Beloit. I think Rockford would be better here than Beloit, or maybe Cosine. I mean, yeah, Beloit's where 43 ends, but I think Rockford could probably be on there too. I-44, I mean, we saw this one coming. Rolla, again, like, doesn't make any sense. Like, if you're gonna drop Tulsa, at least switch to something sensible. I mean, yeah, there's a university there and stuff, but like, I mean, that's more suitable for a U.S. highway, not necessarily an interstate. So I would sign this either Springfield or just stick with Tulsa, honestly. I-45, I almost picked McKinney, but this one, I have to bring this one up. So 45 North Dallas and 45 South Corsicana. I don't understand this. So this is on US 287. So And the reason why I'm bringing up the fact that this is 287 is this is roughly the route from like Fort Worth to Houston or Denver to Houston. So I don't understand why our southbound control city is Corsicana and not Houston. Like, that's such an unimportant place to sign for south. In fact, going north, I would actually be okay if, like, we had a more unimportant place going north because nobody's really going to be taking 45 north from here. At least most people aren't. So, like, if this was, like, 45 North Hutchins or something, I mean, I'd be okay with that just because nobody's really going to go north here. But yeah, 45 South Corsicana, it makes no sense. Should be Houston. I get that's where 287 splits off of 45 to go further south, but still, like, I don't know why there's just this one-off sign for this. I-49, I'm picking Opelousas for here. Just hit me. I don't have anything for I-42, so I'm not doing that. I might make it like a short or something if I do happen to get signs. But yeah, Opelousas doesn't make any sense. Maybe this is just an old 167 control city, but this should be either Alexandria or Shreveport, not Opelousas. I-55. A lot of people are probably going to ask why I didn't pick Macomb. I mean, Macomb is definitely not good, and I definitely considered putting it on here, but at least it's an actual city, and it's roughly like halfway between Jackson and New Orleans, so it's something, I guess. But yeah, I'm not going to go into the sign. I've already roasted it to death, but yeah, I mean, why is Arkansas signing 2 in-state suburbs of Memphis instead of just signing Memphis here? It's beyond me. It's the one sign that could probably make Arkansas either S tier or maybe close to it. I-57, again, the main control cities aren't really a problem, like the pull-through signs. Again, not really the issue here. Missouri ends up just dropping Memphis on the mileage signs, so that's going to be my pick. Like Sykeston, yeah, it's where it ends, but you could make a third line for Memphis here. I-59, this is just odd to me. So 59 South, Picayune, and New Orleans. I don't know why we have a secondary before New Orleans. This is in Hattiesburg, and Hattiesburg is not that far from New Orleans. And then 59 and West 98 for Columbia and Laurel. I mean, Columbia is for 98, but yeah, 59 North Laurel, yeah, no, this should be Birmingham or Tuscaloosa. This should be one of those. I mean, maybe Meridian. I mean, Meridian could work once I-14 gets there, but yeah, I don't know. Laurel's my choice for 59. 64, East Louisburg, wrong. That should be Richmond. I-65, again, like, I-65 is basically perfectly signed, so my biggest problem is just not having a control city from Mobile. I would probably sign either New Orleans, Biloxi, or Gulfport instead of just signing nothing here. Definitely not Pascagoula. I'm glad they at least don't do that. I think signing nothing is better than them signing Pascagoula. In Washington, D.C., we get I-66 West for Roslyn. Just put an actual control city there. I don't know what that is. I-68 East, we get Cumberland, Maryland. I think that should probably just say Baltimore. If you're going to sign something in Maryland, West Virginia, you should just sign Baltimore. I-69, once we meet with I-45 here in Houston, we get 69 North Cleveland, which is just an old US 59 control city. I mean, the sign in front of us doesn't even have I-69 on it. It just says US 59. But yeah, I mean, 69 North Cleveland, like, why? It's a suburb of Houston, and it's a very small suburb too. It's like maybe 7,000 or 8,000, something like that. Like, I don't know why we're saying that. Even for US 59, I don't really think that's a great choice. I know it's roughly where the freeway portion of like 69/59 ends, but Yeah, I don't know. I would just switch to, like, either Shreveport, because that's where 69 will roughly, well, I guess, I know it won't actually enter Shreveport, but at least it'll go, like, near it. Either that, or if you want to go in state, maybe Texarkana, because that's where 369 will go. Or if we're going to stick with US 59 stuff, maybe Lufkin. Lufkin would probably be okay for US 59, but yeah, something besides Cleveland. I-70, I just have to bring this up. 70 West Wentzville. Why? It makes no sense to sign on 70. 64, I mean, not the greatest choice on 64, but at least it ends in Wentzville, so you could argue like it's a good control city for that. But for 70, there's no reason to sign it. I-64, the junction with it, is useless because it just takes you back to St. Louis. Nobody's going to be wanting to go back to St. Louis if they're on 70 West. And I know everybody's going to be like, oh, US 61, you meet US 61 there. Yeah, you do. Guess where it goes? Nowhere. It goes nowhere. I-71, I mean, I can't really find any bad one on 71, and Columbus is not the choice here. I just think the 2nd Street thing, that would probably be my big beef with anything on 71. Is just in Kentucky, they like giving stuff the Kentucky treatment by signing streets or names of expressways instead of the actual cities. So that's my choice for 71. 72, we got 72 and 36 West Jacksonville, which is not a good choice. I mean, maybe Quincy just because 172, and it's sort of the largest thing. 72 passes sort of near for the rest of Illinois. Or because this is US 36, you could sign St. Joseph, or you could sign Kansas City because this is roughly the fastest way from Springfield, Illinois to Kansas City. So any of those would be better than Jacksonville. I-73, Martinsville. It's in Virginia. I don't really know why we're signing small towns in Virginia, North Carolina. And we'll get to North Carolina here in a bit, but 74, we got 74 East for Bloomington. I mean, not horrible, but we were signed for Indianapolis for a bit, and it just kind of goes away. They signed Bloomington again, and you know they sign Champaign and stuff in interchanges. Not worried too much about interchanges, but in terms of pull-through overheads, Bloomington, I just go with Indianapolis here. And then the other I-74, we have Rockingham. I mean, it's tough to say what the control cities are going to be on 73 and 74 in this area. But, yeah, Rockingham, there's a better choice there. I-75, Salford, Naples. I mean, there might be other smaller control cities, but this one is just such a head-scratcher to me. Like, North Naples, I mean, not great, but at least it makes a little more sense going northbound. Going southbound, like, the problem with Naples is we skip a lot of places. We skip Fort Myers and Cape Coral. I know 75 doesn't really get into Cape Coral, but Cape Coral is pretty big. It's the biggest, like, city in, like, southwestern Florida, besides maybe Tampa and maybe some other places. But in this area, yeah, I would just sign either Cape Coral, Fort Myers, or even better, Miami. I know it doesn't really go to some of these places, but it doesn't even really go to Naples either. Naples is not that big. Like, just sign one of those other cities. I-76 is the western one. We got Fort Morgan. Yeah, not really that great. I would sign it for probably something in Nebraska, either Omaha, Lincoln, just Nebraska, be okay, and then maybe alternate between some of the cities. But yeah, Fort Morgan, nah. And then the other 76, the Eastern 76, I got Lodi as my choice. Lodi is just... it's just bad. It's like 2,000 people, and 76 doesn't really get close to Lodi. 224 is what actually goes into Lodi. I would just sign as Columbus here, since it pretty much ends at 71, and 71 is defaulting that way. 77 South Bluefield, that's just really bad. This should absolutely be Charlotte here. I mean, Whitfield I don't think would be a good control city. It's 8,000 people. I mean, yeah, the wrong way concurrency, but I don't think a lot of general travelers are gonna really care about that. I mean, maybe Bristol, maybe Knoxville. I would just sign Charlotte since 77 goes there. And we're far enough from Charleston. I know Charleston and Charlotte sound kind of similar, but we're in roughly around Beckley. I would just sign Charlotte here. 78. Couldn't really find a whole lot of pull-throughs that were just awful. But this is at one of the interchanges. Bethlehem, I think, has some pull-throughs. But Bethlehem at least is sort of like a twin city to Allentown, even though it's sort of suburban Allentown. But yeah, 78 for Easton, that's just not very good. It should be New York City here. It should have been New York City probably since the start. But if you're not going to sign New York City, at least sign like Newark or something. Like, don't sign Easton, which is just the last city in Pennsylvania. 79, we have Clarksburg. Well, at least they get half of it right if they replace the first 5 letters with P-I-T-T and add an H at the end, then it would be a perfect sign here. I-80 is a mess in some of these states, especially Pennsylvania. Even though this isn't the Pennsylvania sign, I mean, this is the only pull-through I could find of the Delaware Water Gap. But this is just both Pennsylvania and New Jersey just being super provincial. There is sort of like a settlement called the Delaware Water Gap, but it's like 600 people. Like, why are we signing 600 people before we sign either New York City, or if we're going westbound, like anything in either Pennsylvania or beyond? Like, this should probably either be Scranton or maybe Youngstown or something. It should be something besides the Delaware Water Gap. Even though the Delaware Water Gap does look nice, it's not what should be signed. I-81, Carlisle. It's a suburb of Harrisburg, and it should be banished to an isle. Two, this is pretty bad. Like, Hermiston, Umatilla, just sign the Quad Cities here. I mean, you don't have to sign Seattle because this is going on 84 East, but yeah, just sign like Kennewick or something here besides these two. 83, Hazleton. Yeah, Hazleton. That's a no-no there. Not too familiar with the East Coast too much. Coramuch, if you're watching, you can help people out with this one. Then, the same signs before, we got Pendleton and Ontario. Why? Just sign Boise or something here. And then the other I-84, this sign is a joke. This is like probably one of the worst signs in the country. Got 84 East Milford, which is like 1,000 people from what I remember. Like, this should absolutely be Hartford here. 380 should probably be signed for New York because it's the fastest way from Scranton to New York. So yeah, I mean, no excuse here. I-85, not too many pull-throughs with just terrible signs, but this is probably the worst one I could find. We got 85 north for Oxford and Petersburg. This should be Petersburg-Richmond, because Petersburg is where 85 ends, but Richmond is just beyond it on 95, and they're sort of in the same metro, so yeah, that's probably what I would go with. I-86, we have Chubbuck and Twin Falls here. Not really the greatest choices here either. Yeah, this should be Boise here. I get 86 isn't really that long, but it should be Twin Falls, Boise. Then the other I-86, I have 86 East for Jamestown. Yeah, a very famous place. If I struggle on saying the name, even though it's not that hard to say, I just messed up. But yeah. This should probably be Corning, because at least I've sort of heard of Corning. It's sort of a major-ish place on I-86, so I'd probably just go with that. I-87 south for Albany. Albany is definitely sensible, but going southbound, you could make an argument for New York City just because it's way bigger than Albany. Albany is a capital, but they could do what Chicago does on I-55 and dual control the capital and the big city. And then the other I-87, I got Rocky Mount, which it's not that bad of a control city now. I'm just thinking of when it's extended, they should probably update this to a different control city once it's more complete. I-88, the western one, Sterling and Rock Falls. This is just bad. Downtown Chicago is the fastest to get to on I-88, so that should be signed for Chicago at the very least. I mean, 80 does kind of go in the general direction of Chicago too, and it's the free route there. So, I mean, maybe do like 88 East, Aurora, Chicago, 80 East for Joliet, Chicago, or maybe like Chicago, Indiana, Chicago, Toledo, something like that. That would probably be what I would do. But at the very least, just change 88 to Chicago. Then the other 88, we have Schenectady. I always struggle trying to say that name. And we also have Binghamton. Not horrible, but I would probably swap it out for Albany, maybe. I-89 South, White River Junction. Not very good there either, honestly. I would honestly sign this for just straight for Concord. I get not everybody's going to be going to Concord, but at least it's actually on 89. That's roughly where it ends. So, yeah, I would just sign this for Concord. I-90, again, going with Albert Lee here. Same reasons as I said before. But it's especially puzzling going westbound because we skip a lot of bigger places on the way. I'd say a lot, really just 2, maybe 3. But yeah, we skip Rochester, which I get 90 doesn't actually go there. But again, they could sign it. It's sizable enough to where like you could sign it on 90. Just sign it up until the Rochester exit. And even Austin gets skipped for Albert Lee. Austin is bigger. I mean, it's still not gonna. It still wouldn't be a good choice, but it'd be better than Albert Lee. I-91 south for Newport. That's not very good, just because that's the first little town. I would sign this either St. Johnsbury, because at least there's an interstate junction there. I would at least sign that. Again, tough to say. I'm not really an expert on the Northeast, but that's kind of what I think. So 93 South, we have Littleton, New Hampshire. Really not that good. I would just go straight to Boston, or maybe co-sign Concord and Boston. Like, something like that. But at the very least, I would definitely sign Boston here. I-94, we're in Minnesota again. Didn't really care that much for 75 being signed for Moorhead, and I definitely don't care for 94 being signed for Moorhead only. It's okay to sign as long as you have Fargo on there too. They're all one metro area. They're basically like twin cities, so sign both of them. Especially, I mean, this is in St. Cloud. I mean, I get we're a little far, but still, I don't know. Just sign both. Moorhead and Fargo. I'm really tired of talking about those two. 95 has a lot of bad ones. It was hard to pick which one, but I think this one is just the dumbest one. Just because to get to Portland, you want to go on 295, not 95. 95 is tolled, and 295 is free from what I remember. So yeah, 95 should just be signed for Lewiston, and Gardner and Brunswick, one of those should be swapped for Portland. Instead of doing this the way they do and trying to scam people. I-96, Lansing still isn't a bad choice, but since we're a little closer to Detroit, I wouldn't mind seeing Detroit on the sign too. I-97 for Annapolis and Bay Bridge, those are actually okay. I mean, I've no real issues with those. This 97 sign looks abnormally big, though. I think I just picked these just because they're the smallest, but they are the correct ones. And then I-99. In terms of overheads pull-through signs, this is about the best I could find. Bellefonte, just not very good. Like, honestly, I would probably just sign this for New York City. Since we have a 280 sign, just sign this for New York City. I mean, you might can give a Control City the 220 as well, but at least sign New York City as the primary for 80. But Pennsylvania doesn't do that, so oh well. And then here on H1, we're getting to the Hawaii Interstates now. We have H1 West for Waianae, which I feel like is a little weird. This one just feels a little premature. I probably would sign some places in Honolulu before I would sign Waianae. There's a lot of famous stuff in Honolulu to sign before this, so that's what I would pick. H2, we got H2 North for Mililani and Wahiawa. I don't know how to pronounce this stuff, I'm sorry. You can let me know in the comments, but yeah. I think I just picked this one because, I mean, they're just the smaller controls. They probably are the correct ones, but yeah, not too much of an expert on Hawaii either. And then H3, I'm actually going to pick the largest one. I'm going to pick Honolulu because I really doubt people are going to go to Honolulu going this way because we're on H1, so we just passed Honolulu. So H3 is being signed for Honolulu? Like, huh? I don't really think we need Honolulu on the sign. I'm just gonna be honest. But yeah, I mean, that wraps up all the interstates. Thank you guys so much for watching. Oh, hey, I-70. Oh, you got a sign to show me? We got, okay, 70 East, Airport, and Lemon. Why do we have a Lemon as our control city? Lemon, huh? Oh, Lyman. Huh. Okay, I guess I, used the wrong vowel there. Been playing Wheel of Fortune all these years, on my computer, and, yeah, I somehow messed that up. Lyman, huh, I never heard of it. Let's look at the population. It's less than 2,000 people? What? Lyman? Lyman? You managed to make a worse control city than Wentzville. Ugh. Oh no. No, Colorado, take this down. Replace that with, oh, I don't know. Kansas City, maybe? Replace it with Kansas City. I know that, you know, that's 2 states away and you skip basically like 400 miles of one state. But just sign Kansas City here and just let Kansas come up with their decision for their choice. Oh, Colorado. Anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed my little rant in this video. And hey, if this video does well and we get those subs, I will do the best control C on each route if you'd like to see that. That can be my 200 sub special. I was gonna do Minnesota 200, but it didn't seem like a popular choice for a 200 special, and I don't know too much about Minnesota. I was probably just gonna end up like making fun of Minnesota the whole time anyways. But hey, if that's a road you want me to cover in the future, just let me know. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.